When I started my business, I was 24 and a half years old. I didn't know as much as I do now. We built Dr. Vaidya's to India's largest Ayurveda brand online. As I said, I invest to give back to the ecosystem. I invest to help founders get mentorship advice and help from someone who's been through the journey. For me, sales solves everything.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel startuplanes.com. I am Pranjal Jaiswal and I take interviews of several angel investors of India. Today we have with us Mr. Arjun Vaidya. He was the CEO of Dr. Vaid's New Age Ayurveda. He completed his graduation from Brown University, USA with BA honors in International Relations and Economics. He quit his job to take on his 150-year-old family legacy of Ayurveda formulation, Dr. Vaid's, which successfully reached 1 million consumers over 500 cities. Currently, he leads venture investing in Verlinvest. He's also an active angel investor mentor to India's D2C and e-commerce brands. Hi sir, I'm Pranjal Jaiswal from Startup Lanes. It's really great to have you here, sir. I will first request you to introduce yourself, sir.
Pranjal, thank you so much for having me. I'm a big fan of Startup Lanes, so
thank you, sir,
inviting me to the session. My name is Arjun Vaidya. I'm a D2C founder and investor. I founded a company called Dr. Vaidya's, which recently got acquired by Sanjeev Goenka Group. I've angel invested in more than 50 companies over the last year after my exit. And I also run the VC business for Verlinvest in India. So I'm the ventures lead for India.
Wonderful, sir. So my first question for you is, what is your investing philosophy, sir?
I am someone who's built and sold a consumer business, right? So I only started investing in January 2021 after I sold my business. And so really the idea behind why I invest is to give back to the ecosystem, right? So the reason I started investing or angel investing even was after we exited our business, we wrote a playbook to help D2C founders. We summarized our learnings of 4 years into a playbook. We started teaching that as a course, mentor, advise some 600 plus founders. And then we said, okay, investing is also another way to give back. So the primary reason to invest is to help founders give back and be a part of their journey. Because when we were raising money in 2017, 2018, there was not such a strong ecosystem of foundering. And that's the reason we do it. We give more time than money.
What has been the most important investing lesson you have learned so far?
I think the most important lesson for sure, and look, it's very early on in my journey, right? Is to invest in something you understand, number one, and to invest in people that you resonated with, get along with, have the same value system with. I would say those are my two lessons. The most successful investments as well. I think these are my lessons.
So, which has been your best investment till date?
I think very early to say. I've invested in really exciting companies, including Truly Madly, One Code, One Impression, Go Quick, MyFitness, Bellora Cosmetics, Char. So lots happening with the investments. But my oldest investment is still only 12 months old, right? So very early to say.
Yeah. So can you share any investing mistakes that you have made and the lessons we can learn from them?
Look, I think I haven't made. Well, I'm sure I've made mistakes, but I don't see the mistakes yet because I haven't invested for too long. But I think the biggest one would be FOMO. Like that's the biggest sort of challenge that any investor faces, right? And that's FOMO. So I think I try to. It's impossible to not feel FOMO, but I try to stop myself from feeling FOMO.
So is there any particular investor or author who has a significant influence on your investing perspective?
Purple Cow by Seth Godin. That's my marketing Bible. And then 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. So I refer back to a lot of that. But I think, look, I really like Reid Hoffman's podcast as well. So Masters of Scale is something that I truly believe, like in blitzscaling, hyperscaling, fast growth, and also companies changing and disrupting through the process.
So what would be your advice to entrepreneurs seeking funds?
Look, I think first I'll give you my advice to entrepreneurs, right? Because when I started my business, I was 24 and a half years old. I didn't know as much as I do now. We built Dr. Vaidya's to India's largest Ayurveda brand online. We took 2 years to establish product market fit and then eventually hyperscale the business to 5,000 orders a day, 2 million plus transacting customers across 16,500 pin codes. We launched 80 products, but I made a lot of mistakes along the way, right? So 3 big learnings for me. One is entrepreneurship looks really sexy, exciting from the outside, right? Unicorns, press articles, fame, all of these kind of things. But the reality is it's a roller coaster ride, right? And so be prepared for that roller coaster ride. There will be ups and downs, and to be able to be patient and tackle failure with grit and resilience, that's the hallmark of a true entrepreneur, right? And a really good entrepreneur. Second, you can't do it alone, right, Pranjal? When I started, I was really young, and so I thought I could do everything on my own. The reality is you can only work 14, 16 hours a day, right? And after 14 hours, you're pretty much inefficient. You need a strong, empowered team to help you sort of take that forward, right? And so that would be learning number 2, build a team from day 1 or build a team from day 0 rather than waiting so long to build a team. And number 3 would be, look, you have to be 100% in, right? And so you can't be slightly pregnant, or you can't be sort of side hustle entrepreneur. My podcast, for example, that I have on D2C called Direct to a Billion Consumers, that's my side hustle. I do it over the weekend. But when you're in something, you have to be in full time. And then taking forward from that, right? What's my advice to entrepreneurs pitching to investors as well? Number 1, go prepared, right, to an investment, whether it's with your pitch or with the background of the person. 2, be contextual when you do reach outs and cold calls, right? I know I get a lot of emails from people sort of who want to chat about investment, but they're the most generic one sometimes, right? You've sent it to 100 investors. I know you've got some angel investor list from somewhere and just sent it, right? So can you add some contextualization as to why you want to reach out to me? And third piece of advice would be listen, right? Gauge the room, read the room, but also listen to the feedback or listen to the way the person is speaking to sort of design your pitch or mold your pitch accordingly.
Very nice, sir. So, do you invest in specific sectors? If yes, then which are they, sir?
Look, I think from an angel capacity, I'm not as specific, but I think there are sectors I like. And from the fund, from Verlinvest Ventures, we invest in 4 sectors. So sectors I like: consumer brands, consumer internet, anything that's digitally consumer facing. Enablers to e-commerce is a big thesis area for me. Anything that enables the e-commerce or commerce ecosystem, warehousing, logistics, delivery tech, supply chain, all of these kind of things. And then e-commerce or new commerce, so live commerce, social commerce, video commerce, those kind of things. That's my sort of areas of interest.
So according to you, what is more important, team, idea, traction, etc.?
Look, I think I always believe that an idea is just an idea, and ideation is great, but high quality scalable startups are built from blood, sweat, and high quality execution. So I would say team plus traction is much more important than idea. Idea is the starting point, but without team and traction, the idea is not relevant.
So my next question is, what according to you is the perfect time for a startup to raise funds? Concept stage, early stage, very early stage, growth stage, or stable stage?
The best stage a startup can raise funds is when you've achieved product market fit and you know what to do with the funds. There are some startups who need money at seed, pre-seed, etc., all of that to get going. But I would say the best value unlocking would be, I've established product market fit. I know what I'm doing now. Now I need the funds to get from X to 10X, right? And I know I've already got to X. Here's my journey to X, and here's what I'll do with the funds to get to 10X. So when you're contextually very clear why you need the funds, that's the best time to raise capital.
What is the value addition that a founder gets along with your investments?
Look, I consider myself a founder first and then an investor, right? And so for me, as I said, I invest to give back to the ecosystem. I invest to help founders get mentorship, advice, and help from someone who's been through the journey. But also, I am trying to fill a gap that was a gap when we were raising capital in 2017, 2018. So I give all the founders that I invest in time. I pick up their call. I help them think through things, more existential, philosophical questions as well as execution questions. So I consider myself a founder before an investor.
Sir, would you like to share any of your recent investments and why did you select them?
Look, I think most of my investments are sort of available in the public domain, but there's one company that I want to talk about specifically. If there is one, it's called My Fitness. It's a peanut butter brand.
Yes.
And I think you guys featured it as well. So I met Rahil and Mohammed when they were trying to raise money, and they came to me and they met me and they told me like, look, we have this peanut butter brand, we have all of this stuff, and we're trying to raise money and we're figuring it out, etc., all of that. And I said, okay, tell me a little bit more. And they said, look, we have this high quality peanut butter. We've done so much. Here's the brand. Here's what it looks like. Here's the product. and we're doing 2.5 or 3 crores, and we have profit on that, right? So I said, okay, maybe sort of you need to scale that a bit further. Maybe you need to get to like 1 crore a month, and then maybe you'll get investor traction. But good progress to date. And they said, no, sir, we're doing 2.5, 3 crores a month, and we have profit on that. I said, look, there is something that you guys are doing which I've never seen before. Right? And they were like, okay, but we're not sort of getting as much investor traction. And I said, look, use my name, say Arjun Vaidya is investing, and go and raise the round. And eventually they raised the round. They've exponentially scaled since then. And I think that's a sort of hallmark to not tier 1 city founders, right? They come from a tier 2 city, Silvassa, where my factory was. And I think we need to back more and more people like this because their execution has been stellar, even better than our execution.
Very nice. Sir, is there anyone you would like to thank for supporting your investments?
Supporting my investments?
Yeah, supporting your investments.
I would like to thank everyone who supported Dr. Vaidya as customers, because the Dr. Vaidya scale, exit, and sort of outcome from there is supporting my investments and my sort of help to the startup ecosystem.
So, what is your feedback on Startup Planes?
I think Startup Planes is an amazing publication, great for the startup ecosystem. Look, the ecosystem is buzzing, it's vibrant, and I think more and more platforms like yours need to exist to tell the stories of startups and investors so that it becomes much more mainstream.
So, share your original quotes, sir.
My original quotes. Look, I believe, right, especially in the consumer space, like a lot of times I reach out to people reach out to me, they talk a lot about philosophical things like total addressable market, long-term profitability, scale of market going forward, etc. All of that. For me, sales solves everything. Sales is the most important metric for a consumer brand over anything. So I think all of these sort of philosophical things can be solved by sales. And once you get sales, all of these things will figure themselves out.
So which are the first 3 slides that you look in a pitch deck?
The 3 slides I look for: founder background, market size or addressable market, and traction or business metrics.
So how would you define a startup?
Someone that fundamentally wants to disrupt a large problem is a startup.
So my last question for you is, what are the attributes of an entrepreneur?
Ambition, motivation, and the ability to fight failure with grit and resilience.
Okay, thank you, sir. With this, we come to the end of this interview. It was really great to have you here, sir.
Pranjal, thank you so much for having me.